He's got too much pine tar.
Sloppy jalopy. They were doing the Chris Davis fishing for it.
Might be going to call George Brett out.
Well, he's out.
Yes,
Brett is out. Look at this. Brett is out. And
Steve McMahon.
he is out and having to be forcibly restrained from hitting plate umpire Tim McClellan.
Too much pot tar.
Way too much pot tar.
Welcome back to another episode of Too Much Pod Tar as we continue our off-season series for each team. Today we pick up with the Minnesota Twins, and they had a disappointing finish once again, continuing their 18-game losing streak in the playoffs. Losing in the first round to the Astros. So yeah, another disappointment. And let's see what they can do, this offseason to try to make improvements and get back to the ALCS. Hope maybe make a run at the World Series. They've been trying to get there the last few years, but just kind of faded out at the end. It seems like they can never get anything together in the playoffs. But yeah, for this one, I got Johnnie Black returning to the show. So back for the first time in a little while. So welcome back.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, good to be back. I wish it was with better news of the Twins, but
yeah. But yeah, they got quite a few free agents too that they're gonna have to think about if they want to re-sign them. Especially with the pitching, like Jake Odorizzi and Rich Hill, both free agents. Hill might end up retiring anyway because he's 41 now, so he can't imagine they bring him back if he does return. But
yeah, Hill is probably gone. Odorizzi's probably gone too.
Yeah.
They gave him. He accepted the qualifying offer in 2000. In the offseason of 2019. And came back for last year, and he was banged up, didn't pitch a lot, and wasn't very good. So banking on himself, unfortunately, COVID happened, and we had the 60-game season, and I just don't think the Twins will sign him back. I mean, we still have, as it stands now, starting staff is looking like Maeda, Barrios, Pineda, and Dobnak. As far as top four guys, so to speak, coming back. We need another starter or two. I wasn't happy with Dobnak this year, but Maeda is obviously, he made it over there. He pitched well. Pitched really well for the Twins this year. And Barrios is there for another 2 years. Pineda we have signed for this year. Dobnak's there for a little bit, but, definitely need another starter or two.
Yeah, a couple guys to look at too is maybe have potential to be a bounce back year. The young guys like Louis Thorpe and Devin Smeltzer. Those guys could maybe end up getting a run at the fifth spot in the rotation, but they definitely have to pitch a lot better than they did this past year.
Yeah, I don't see either one of them as a starter. Honestly, I mean, I think Thorpe and Smeltzer are better as lefties out of the bullpen. This is another spot that the Twins need to address is the bullpen because we lost. We're losing. Well, in free agency, you never know if they're going to sign him back, but we're losing Trevor May. We're losing Tyler Clippard. We're losing Sergio Romo. So there's three guys that threw a lot of innings last year that we're going to need to replace. Now, there were a couple guys, Jorge Alcala pitched pretty well for us. Matt Whistler, who was kind of a project. He was a player from the Braves originally and never made it as a starter, but he pitched pretty well out of the bullpen for us last year. So he shows some stuff. Obviously, we still have Taylor Rogers as the closer, but I just think that we need to bring in another guy who has closer experience. Tyler Duffy's still there, so he's good. Like I said, Taylor Rogers is our closer, and Alcala and Whistler will be fine, but definitely need another guy or two to replace the innings. Baldelli likes to use his bullpen a lot during the season, and this is what happens when you get to the playoffs. These guys are broke. These guys are worn down, and this is what happened this year against Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, not just the fact that we couldn't hit, but also the fact that Maeda and Barrios pitched the first two games, and they gave up 2 runs combined in the first 2 starts. It was the bullpen that gave up all the runs and lost us the games. So I think having more arms in the bullpen is going to help down the road as far as the season goes.
Yeah. The good news there too. The reliever market is pretty strong this year. You got obviously Brad Hand, the top guy, but then you go down the list. You got Ken Giles, Roberto Ozuna, Blake Trinan, Kirby Yates, Shane Green, Liam Hendricks. So definitely a lot of good names in there that potential they can sign.
Oh, there's tons of guys, and even in the article I wrote for the Twins, the off-season article, I talked about them bringing Liam Hendricks back because he was originally a Twin, and they tried to make him a starter. So he was a starter for the Twins, and he didn't find success. They let him go. He's bounced around, but the past 2 years for Oakland, he's been lights out in the bullpen. And why not bring him back?
Yeah.
Call him up, bring him back. And, someone like Liam Hendricks, who's a righty. Taylor Rogers is the closer for the Twins, but he's one of the few lefty closers. So, I mean, you can mix it. At least that gives Baldelli an option to mix and match. When Hendricks has experience closing, Rogers obviously does, and you can mix and match the righty-lefty thing as far as the 8th, 9th inning and stuff like that. So,
all right,
I think Hendricks would be a great sign for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. And then just the other day, they announced a few of the 40-man roster additions. They added Jordan Balazovic. I believe that's how you say his name.
The starter. Yeah.
Right-handed. And then catcher Ben Rortved and another right-hander, Bailey Ober. So those are the 3 guys they added yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
Jordan Balazovic or whatever, like he's one of the top prospects there.
Yeah.
Behind some of these other guys that are coming up. As far as the catcher goes, Rortat or whatever his name is, I can't remember his name either. Like Rortat.
Yeah.
But
something like that.
Ryan Jeffers did a great job this year.
Yeah.
Filling in for Mitch Garver. And I think between the two of them, they'll be solid behind the plate. The infield is set. As far as the outfield goes, they could use a little help. Max Kepler is great in right field. He's coming into his own. He's been getting better and better every year, taking a lot more walks and everything. Byron Buxton, we don't know. He's never healthy.
Yeah.
So who knows what happens with that? And in the left field, there's a hole. There's a hole in left field. So that's where I think, the Twins need to really concentrate. They need to concentrate on left field and getting an ace.
Yeah.
I think it would be two and a bullpen arm, but I think that's the main focus. Should be the main focus. I mean, the outfield we have some options there. We'll see, but they're also young options. I mean, Alex Kirilloff is coming up. Brent Rooker made his debut last year. Guys like that, guys who can hit. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know where they're going to spend the money, but they're going to, I think outfield, thinking about it now, outfield might be taken care of as far as their young guys go. I think they really need to get an ace. They really need to get an ace, and they really need to get another closer. So I think someone like Liam Hendricks would be great. They need to, not only that, they need to re-sign Nelson Cruz.
Oh yeah.
I don't care if the guy's 50. I mean, the dude was he still hits. They need to bring him back.
Oh, for sure. He's a key piece to that lineup.
Oh, he's huge in that lineup. I mean, he had two of the 7 hits the Twins actually had in those 2 games against the Astros. And both of them were doubles.
Mm-hmm.
He drove in both runs that the Twins scored. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy just does it in the playoffs. He does it during the regular season. And he's a great veteran influence on that club. There's no reason they shouldn't bring him back on another 1-year deal for like $15 million. Yeah. I mean, he made $12 million last year. Give him the raise, bring him back. Even if it's a 2-year deal, and the second year's the team option with a buyout. I mean, there's no reason not to do it.
Wow. Yeah, one of their big losses is Marwin Gonzalez. So that, I mean, he was a big piece there to play anywhere that they needed him.
Yeah, he'll be missed. Yeah. But I mean, I think utility guys like that. I mean, there's guys like Brock Holt out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you want, that's another way they can go too. I mean, if you really wanted to, I don't think they would because their infield's pretty set and they like Arias at second. But if we're talking about spending money, maybe you go out and sign DJ LeMahieu, put him at second, and have Arias be the utility guy. Or, I mean, they have Donaldson at third. He's signed for another 3 years. They have Polanco, who's locked up to a team-friendly contract. They have Sano at first. But who knows? If you're going to, there's another way to go, is that if you don't re-sign Nelson Cruz, you put Sano at DH. Go get LeMahieu.
Right. Yeah.
Put him at first. Knowing that he can play multiple positions. But I mean, I think as far as the infield goes, I think they're set. Yeah, outfield, I would love to see them sign someone like Marcelo Ozuna to play left field. That would be great. But you have to pick and choose your money, where they're going to spend it. And honestly, I really think they need an ace. I really think that the way to spend the money would be for either a big bat in left field or a top-notch starter. And when you look at the top-notch starters this year, Trevor Bauer is the man.
Yeah.
But I also talked about in the article. I also talked about Tanaka, someone who's got a proven postseason track record,
Mhm.
who's been reliable. And you put him in there. You put him in there with Maeda and Barrios. It's a solid top three. It's a solid top three that I go into the playoffs with, along with then Pineda and Dobnak, who can come in and pitch some innings. So I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, that would be a good signing too. Yeah. But yeah, I did that one too. That article, the Tanaka profile. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
I had the three. I think what was it? The three top landing spots actually: the Yankees, Mets. I think it was, and then Angels. Maybe I think I had Angels on there too. So.
I could see the Angels too. The Angels are going to be looking for pitching.
Yeah, they're gonna need a lot of pitching. Or yeah, like Mike Trout needs to have like a team around him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I could see. I mean, I could see the Angels too. I mean, as far as the shortstop situation, and Jolton Simmons is going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
If the Angels aren't going to re-sign him, I could see them possibly going for Marcus Semien.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Short, but they need to get some. They need to get something.
Yeah.
I was also looking at starters for because I did the Seattle Mariners too. Mm. It's like 19 years they haven't made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's a long time. It's 2001. They haven't even made the playoffs. It's like, it's so brutal.
That's the longest playoff drought currently, right? In all sports.
In all the sports, yeah. And it's just horrible. They have some up and coming players in their lineup, but their pitching is just I don't know. The pitching and the lineup, I don't know about them with their lineup because they have a couple of young guys. I mean, they have Evan White at first and Shed Long at second. J.P. Crawford's more of a field first shortstop. I don't trust his hitting. Kyle Seager's another year older.
Yeah.
And he's a year away from free agency. But the outfield I like with Kyle Lewis, rookie of the year and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jarred Kelenic coming up, and they have Fraley and they have a few other guys out there like they can put in the outfield, but they need something. They're starting. I mean, Marco Gonzalez is their ace. And you say Kikuchi. Those are the two guys that they're, planning on having being the 1-2. I just don't know.
No.
They need every team needs an ace. You can never have too much starting pitching. So I mean, every team needs an ace, and that's why Bauer's in a great market right now.
Yeah.
There are a lot of playoff hopeful teams and playoff teams that are looking for that ace to put them over the top. I mean, if the Twins signed Trevor Bauer, I would be ecstatic.
Oh yeah.
Going into the playoffs with Bauer, Maeda, and Barrios, I'd be like, yeah, this would be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big market for him. It's gonna be like I don't know what teams it's gonna come down to, but it's probably gonna take a while though. It probably won't be till towards the end of the off season.
Oh, it's gonna take a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of these the big free agents, the big money guys like Bauer, George Springer, Marcell Ozuna, like all these guys who are looking at basically $20+ million a year. I think it's going to take a while for them to sign. They're going to take their time. They're going to see what moves are made as far as like the GM meetings in December, what trades are made, who's building up their team, and they're gonna wait it out.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. If the Dodgers actually do get Arenado, I can't even imagine. They're already good as it is, and then if they get him, what the hell? It's not even fair.
Well, if they get Arenado, I mean, well, what are they going to have to give up though?
Yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah.
I mean, do you give up Lux and May, and Gosselin? I mean, it depends on what you're willing to give up because you got to remember the Dodgers. The Dodgers want sustained success.
Yeah.
So do you get rid of May and Gosselin? And Lux, do you give that up to take on that contract?
I don't know.
I don't know if they do.
Yeah.
If they can hold on to May or Gonsolin and give up maybe Cabo Ruiz, one of the catchers, because they have Will Smith. So maybe they give up one of the catchers for him. I don't know. But if they got Arenado, I mean, Betts, Bellinger, Arenado, Muncy, I mean, lineup is scary. The defense is scary.
Oh my goodness.
But you're gonna have to have something after Kershaw. Time's running out. Time's running out. And they have Walker Buehler there, who's the ace of the future, and they're not trading him. That's obvious. But
Hell no. Yeah. After that, it's kind of really enough. I mean, they did enough for this past year, of course, but I
think the Dodgers will fill in.
Yeah,
they'll get guys like Odorizzi. They're going to look for projects, and you look for projects like an Odorizzi who had a bad year. Granted, on a short season, he was banged up, but you get guys like that, guys like a Taijuan Walker, who's a free agent. Who's had arm problems, but showed some stuff last year. He's still young. You get certain guys like that. DeSclafani from the Reds, the free agent. He's only 30. I mean, certain guys that you could bring into a new team and maybe work around. Like, you look at what they've done and how they work certain pitches and certain things. You get them into a new team, a new pitching coach, and a new pitching squad. Maybe you get to fix them.
Yeah.
So there are a few guys out there. Plenty of guys out there that can throw. It's just a matter of getting them into the right spot where they're going to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, even I was thinking, even somebody like James Paxton, who obviously has his injury issues in the past, but if he can stay healthy, he can maybe give you something at least. I mean, he's coming off of this past year. He's not going to be able to command too much anyway. So you might as well maybe take a 1 year prove it deal, throw that at him, and see what he can do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
I would definitely throw him a 1 year, $10 million.
Yeah,
prove it. Give me a team option
for
the following year, and if you prove it this year, then I get to save it.
Yeah.
I get the team option for the following year, and then we can move on. But yeah, someone like Paxton's perfect. He's the injury history.
Yeah.
but he's so good when he does pitch. He's usually really good. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There'll be plenty of teams out there for him to. I mean, everyone's going to just move around, and I think they're going to be a lot of 1 to 2 year deals that you're going to see, especially because of the way the landscape is now. I mean, we had COVID this year, so we had 60 games. So this season, some pitchers didn't even pitch this year. I mean, what about someone like Chris Archer?
Hmm.
You look at someone like Chris Archer, and I actually thought that might be someone decent for the Twins, is because he didn't pitch in 2020.
Yeah.
And he didn't pitch extremely well with Pittsburgh when he got moved there, but change of scenery, he's still only 30. His velocity hasn't taken a hit or anything like that. Like, he's still got the stuff. I think it's just a mindset with him. We know how emotional he is, as far as with the whole thing with Derek Dietrich pimping the home run and then he threw at him. Like, we know how emotional he is and stuff like that. Like, so maybe it's a change of scenery. Maybe it's something like that, and a little tweak in his delivery or something. He's got the stuff. So I don't know. It's pitchers like that interest me, because those are guys who are low risk, high reward. So someone like you said, like an Archer, a Paxton, who when they pitch, could be great. They have the stuff. They have, all that goes along with it. And, those are guys that a lot of teams will be looking at this year.
Yeah, it's funny the bringing up the Archer point. Like when I did the Rays pod, it was like the one guy, Joel Bailey. He said like it would be funny if what if the Rays brought him back like after they'd made that trade, like completely like such a one lopsided trade in their favor.
Yeah.
And then they end up getting him back, and then he, turns it around or something. Like that would be something.
It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
I just don't think I think Archer's gonna want more money. And I just don't think the Rays are gonna pay him.
No.
I don't know how much money he's gonna want. I would think Archer at this point, I'd say he might go for a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Prove it deal. So maybe the Rays would go for it. A 1-year deal at say 10 million or something like that. But I don't know. He might price it. He seems like he has like the attitude too. Like, he might price himself out of stuff. And you got to remember, a lot of these teams lost revenue this year. So I don't know how much money is floating around. So I think Archer might wind up with a team that's willing to give him 2 years or 3. That's willing to be like, look, we'll give you these 3. We'll give you the guaranteed money. So maybe he'll be willing to take that 3 years at 30 million, 35. And someone could get a steal out of that. Because if he turns it around, he wasn't bad with the Rays. He was a pretty solid pitcher. And he wasn't horrible with Pittsburgh, actually. When you look at his underlying stats, like I said, like his velocity didn't go down. Like he was fine. He just didn't perform as well. And now having a season off to rest and everything like that, I think I think he could come back strong this year,
Yeah.
Archer. I really do. And it could be a real big win for a team that's willing to give him what he wants.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Archer. Like, who ends up going for him?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, he's an interesting case because he didn't pitch this year. I mean, like I said, he was decent for the Pirates. Yeah, he lost games and stuff like that, but they, it's not like they gave him any run support. But he's got the stuff to be a really good pitcher in the major leagues. Maybe not an ace,
No.
but it's solid number 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, and that's worth, if you can get a guy who's going to throw you 180 to 200 innings, striking out 200 guys a year, giving you a sub-4 ERA, it's worth $20 million a year at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if someone's willing to take a chance on him, or maybe give him a 1-year deal, just to prove a deal, or maybe if someone's willing to give him the guaranteed money on a 3-year deal with a lower AAV, maybe someone could steal him for 3 years, $45 million.
Yeah.
And he could turn out to be, really good.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think I'd love the Twins to sign like someone big.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them sign. I want to see them bring Nelly Cruz back, obviously, because I think he's so worth it at this point. Like, how do you go wrong with a 1-year $15 million? Like, give him the 1-year $15 million. He's going to hit 300. He's going to hit 40 home runs. You know what he's going to do. I mean, he's a lock at that. Just give him 1-year deals.
Yeah.
Same thing David Ortiz did with Boston for all those years. He had 1-year deals for the last 5 years of his career.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep signing them. Why not? And then spend the money. Spend the money on a starter. Go get Bauer. I know Bauer said in the beginning of this whole thing, he wants to do 1-year deals and everything. But I think if you throw 3 years at $100 million at him, I think you'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Well, I think I remember not that long ago, his agents even said like he's open to any deals. So.
Yeah, Rachel Loba, I think her name is, his agent.
Yeah. I on this pod too, like last year. That was the one I interviewed. That was like before she was even an agent yet.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely. I mean, how can you not look at that? Someone's willing to give you $30 million a year for the next 3 years, 4 years. How do you not look at that? How do you say no? I want a 1-year deal. Now I get it, because you're betting on yourself, and you're also not pricing yourself out of the market 3-4 years down the road.
Yeah.
Because like if you sign a deal now, a long-term deal, say you sign a 4-year, $120 million deal, so $30 million for an ace starter. 2-3 years from now, an ace starter is worth 35-40. You're already stuck in this deal, so now you priced yourself out of the 5-10 million extra a year.
Yeah.
So I get it, I understand that, but the security of it and the fact that baseball contracts are guaranteed.
Mm.
How don't you just sign a 33-year deal? You know, and just say, "Hey, I'll take the money."
Yeah. But what do you think about the division for next year?
It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. It's going to be interesting what the Indians do. When the White Sox are actually, they're obviously up and coming. But it's going to be interesting what the Indians do this year in the AL Central. I think Kansas City and Detroit are still a year or two away from competing. I like Kansas City's. I like their pitching that's up and coming. Brady Singer and Chris Bubik and those guys Jackson Kowar. I like those guys, but they haven't hit their stride yet. I think they got another year or two. Lost Alex Gordon this year. I mean, they really only have Merrifield, Hunter Dozier, Jorge Soler, Mondesi. I don't know. They have another year or two to go before they compete. Same thing with Detroit. They have a couple of young guys there, and their pitching is up and coming too. Casey Mize and guys like that. But the interesting thing is going to be what the Indians do. What they do with Lindor, obviously, is the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Do they trade him this offseason? Do they hang on to him? Trade him at the trade deadline?
I think even if they do, I think they'll still be a pretty good team. They still have the pitching. The pitching has always been their strength. So I think they could still be in the running for that division.
Yeah, I just don't think they're going to score runs.
No.
I mean, especially if they trade Lindor. I mean, it depends on what they get.
Mm.
If they can trade Lindor, if they traded Lindor to, say, the Mets, okay, for Ahmed Rosario, Brandon Nimmo, and a couple of prospects, they can still compete because, like you said, the pitching. I mean, there's Shane Bieber, who who's dominant, is Cy Young. So, Aaron Savali, Plesac, guys like that. They still have Cookie, Carrasco. They have a solid staff. They don't Brand Hand anymore, but they have, what's his name, Karinchak.
Yeah.
And Emmanuel Clace is another guy in the bullpen there. So they're still going to be competitive. Without Lindor, though, we're talking about arguably the best shortstop in baseball.
Yeah.
And even if you lose him, even if you get Ahmed Rosario and Brandon Nimmo, you're not replacing Lindor.
Mm.
And I just don't think, Santana's a year older. Jose Ramirez is still there. But, I mean, what else do they have? I like Roberto Perez behind the plate. He's fine. But I don't know. I just don't think that lineup scares anybody.
No.
But the White Sox are the ones you got to watch out for.
Oh yeah. I think if they add another pitcher, they would be really scary.
Yeah, they could use another. They could use another starter.
Yeah.
Use some bullpen help.
Yeah.
The lineup is nice. I mean, the lineup is with Jimenez and Robert and Abreu, Moncada, all those guys, Madrigal. Yeah, they're gonna be good for a while. They've Grandal for the next 3 years behind the plate.
Yeah.
They'll be solid. I think the Indians had their window. Honestly, I think the Indians should just pack it in.
Yeah, I mean,
Trade Lindor, get what you can for these guys now, and sort of rebuild. Because they could, like I said, they can still be competitive, and like you said, with their pitching staff, they can still be competitive. But get what you can for a whole season of Lindor. Get it now.
yeah. I kind of feel like they should hold on to Lindor until the trade deadline and see where they're at. Like, if they're not out, like if they're way out of it, like by then that's when they should trade him.
See, but that's the problem with that is that are they, where are they going to be at the trade deadline? Then if you're sort of in the playoff mix, but not really, like kind of, sort of, then they put themselves open, and then you don't get as much then either.
That's true.
Because it's not a whole year of the player.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you would be a great fit for the Mets.
Oh yeah.
The Mets could bring him in for the whole season. Try to work out a deal with him. They'd have a whole year to work out a deal with Lindor going forward. And with the new owner, Steve Cohen, he's got money.
Yeah.
And if the Mets had to give up on Matt Rosario, and I think Nimmo is a great player. I love Nimmo, and but they'd have to give up Nimmo or Conforto.
Yeah.
But the Mets can trade one of those guys. They could trade Nimmo, Rosario, and a couple of their minor leaguers for Lindor, and then go sign Springer. Play center field.
Mm-hmm. And then sign Bauer too. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening.
Probably not. I don't think he would.
It's funny.
Sign all three of them.
I heard Met fans. Like, I was talking to a couple of buddies of mine from Jersey who were Met fans, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna sign JT Realmuto, Trevor Bauer, George Springer." I'm like, "You're not signing all these guys. It's not happening." Be interested to see where JT goes.
We're just gonna sign every free agent on the market.
Well, they're thinking that Steve Cohen, coming in, he's got all this money, that he's going to be like George Steinbrenner, not the kids, and he's just going to go like George Steinbrenner went, Catfish Hunter, Reggie Jackson. Let's go bring everybody in, but it's not like that anymore,
No.
But I think trading for Lindor and signing Springer would be huge for the Mets.
Yeah.
Be huge for them. They don't have Cano's contract to worry about.
No.
Because Cano just shot himself in the foot.
Yeah, that was, I can't believe
he just killed himself.
Yeah. I mean, they could also go after LeMahieu too if they like. They're probably gonna go after him.
Well, they could, yeah. Or they could just play McNeil at second.
Yeah.
I mean, they have options there as far as the infield goes. I think trading for Lindor and signing Springer with the Mets, I think that's a huge thing for them.
Yeah.
I think that would be great moves. They've been looking for a center fielder for years.
Yeah.
Now, not that Springer is great in center field. He's average defensively, but he's better than what they've had.
Oh, yeah.
Much better hitter than what they've had. And they replaced Nimmo's bat with Springer.
Mm-hmm.
And you upgrade at shortstop. You bring up Andres Jimenez. You play him at second. Put McNeil at third. G.D. Davis in left. Conforto in right.
Mm-hmm. And
you still have Dominic Smith and Peter Alonso can switch on and off between first base and DH. And you just got to worry about catcher. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Still got the best pitcher in baseball, Jacob deGrom. You still have the ace of aces
And then you could give him run support with those additions.
Mm-hmm. And they got Stroman back. David Peterson another year in the league. Still got Steven Matz. I mean, it's not like it's not like their starting rotation is garbage.
No.
And if you get Syndergaard back in August, September, hey, if you're making a playoff run, you put Syndergaard in the bullpen. He'd be great in the playoffs in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Coming out of the bullpen for the 1, 2, 3 innings, he'd be perfect for that role.
No, yeah.
So the Mets aren't far off. I mean, they're not, they've just underperformed, basically. They've underperformed their talent the past couple of years. Because going into each year, like the past couple of years, they're a playoff team, playoff caliber team. They just had injuries. They've had underperformance. They've had, it is what it is. It happens. That's why they play the games.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no reason to think that if they traded for Lindor and signed Springer, there's no reason to think that the Mets can't win that division.
No, definitely.
That's a tough division. Miami came up this year. Atlanta's good. Phillies are always dangerous. The Mets, I mean, that's a solid division.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be close for sure.
The National League is rough, man. Because it's so hard to pick.
It's always like almost every team that's in it. Besides the bottom feeders.
And that's the thing with the National League. There are only really like 3 bottom feeders.
Yeah.
Out of the 15 teams, like in the AL, you kind of know. In the American League, it's kind of you kind of know. The Yankees and the Rays, the rest of the AL East is garbage. Although Toronto's been coming up, so we'll see what they do. But then the AL Central, it's like, all right, what did the Indians do this year? White Sox are coming up, Twins are there, but Detroit and Kansas City stink. And then the West, you have Oakland and the Astros. The Angels are always garbage. Texas stinks. Seattle can't win. Can't get in the playoffs. I mean, you always have you only have half the AL is really contenders for the playoffs. Yeah. Whereas the National League, you only have like 2, 3 teams that can't make the playoffs. So it's definitely it's different. We'll see what we get next year. I mean, who knows with this whole COVID thing? Hopefully we have a whole 162 game season next year.
Well, I saw a tweet the other day that they were planning on doing the whole season, like starting on April 1st, or something like that. So
certainly hope so.
Yeah, hopefully we're getting like a vaccine by then too. Like we can actually have fans in the stadiums.
Yeah. Let's hope, man. But I just want a full season. I just want like a whole season of baseball. We can all, I don't know. They were talking about. I was talking to my wife before. They were talking about Brigham and Women's Hospital up here came up with some kind of nasal spray that like coats your nasal passages and is supposed to like fight off the coronavirus. Like you can't breathe it in. Yeah. Like it won't stay. So that'd be, if it's not a vaccine, something like that would help.
Yeah.
And they could give it to everyone at the park when they come in, or I don't know. Stuff like that needs to be done. And I think we'll get back to a little bit of normalcy come next spring.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been like what? It's been like a year since originally since COVID started, like over in China. I think it was like last November it first started.
Yeah.
And that was when I thought like I didn't even think anything of it. Like I thought when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, it's just that's just gonna be in China. It's never gonna be here. And then all of a sudden, whatever it was, 4 months later, and it was like the whole shutdown. I was like, what the hell? What the hell is going on?
Yeah. We've been going through this since March, man.
Yeah.
It's just too much. Too much. And I've known people now, and it's gotten to the point where, everyone knows someone who's been hit by it.
Yeah.
And I know the couple people that I've known who got hit by COVID, it's like, they're like, yeah, it's bad, man. Because it takes weeks to get over it. And depending on how old you are, and obviously your, tolerance level and stuff like that. But, where I work, the guy I work with, he was cold symptoms and stuff like that. And it didn't hit him too bad, but he was fatigued. He would walk up a flight of stairs and he was like getting tired and stuff like that. And it's like, he's older, he's 64, but even now, it's a month later. And he passed out the other day in his bathroom.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just and I talked to one of my vendors, one of the guys that brings in the bread for us and stuff like that, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, yeah, he's like, I had a fever for like 4 days, and then even when I came back to work 2 weeks later, it took me like another week or two to get back like to my regular feeling normal again.
Yeah. Jeez.
So it's like, yeah, kicks your ass, man. From what I've heard. I mean, luckily, knock on wood, I haven't gotten anything, or I haven't touched it, but and from what I've heard, it's no joke. It
Yeah.
really affects you for like a while, and that's the thing. It's the long-term effects that you don't feel normal again for like a month. And these are people that are, yeah, the one guy is a little bit older, but I mean, healthy people. It's not like they have underlying issues or anything like that. Like, it just kicks your ass. So I don't know.
Yeah. Luckily for me, I like the closest I got to it was one of my dad's coworkers ended up getting it, but my dad got a test and tested negative. So luckily it didn't get farther than that.
Yeah.
Because then, yeah, if he was positive, I would have had to get a test and everything. So.
Yeah, I lucked out because the one guy I work with, the week he tested positive and started showing symptoms, I was actually working in another store.
Uh,
I was filling in for someone else, so I wasn't with him at all. So it worked out all right for me.
Yeah.
But now they have, when I go to work, you have to put your face in this screening thing, and they take your temperature and like all this stuff. So I don't know. The new normal.
Ugh.
I
But
just want to go back to the old normal. I was going to back to the old,
yeah, last
uh,
December or whatever.
yeah, really.
But yeah, that's way off topic. Well, I guess not really off topic because it's been going on for so like it's literally a current event for 9 months in a row.
Yeah.
So, but Just back to the baseball. What other thoughts do you have on the Twins coming up for this offseason? Just any?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the young guys. I'd like to see they talked about Alex Kirilloff coming up. Brent Rooker came up for a little bit last year. I think he was 1 for 3. Came up for like one game or whatever. But some of the young hitters, I'd like to see. And also the other kid we talked about, Jordan Balzovich or whatever. I can't remember. I can never remember his name.
I think it's
They have another young arm in their minor league system. Johan Duran, who's supposed to have a real live arm. Like to see him make his move. But as far as that, I mean, the Twins, they really need an ace. Like I said, I like Barrios and I like Maeda. I think having that ace there, someone like a Bauer, it helps the whole rotation because it knocks everyone down. Bauer's your ace, and then you have Maeda and Barrios. Like I said, we still have Pineda for one more year. Pineda showed some, when he came back last year, he showed well. We have Dobnak, Smeltzer, guys like that who can start. But I really want to see these guys, the starting rotation. And the hitting is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
It was an issue last year in the playoffs. And, if we don't re-sign Nelson Cruz, we need to get some bats in there. Guys who can hit the ball. So if we're not going to re-sign Nelson Cruz and we need to put Sano at DH, basically, well, we need a first baseman in. Or we need a left fielder. We need some other bat in there that's going to put up that kind of production. Is it one of those? Is it Kirilloff? Is it Brent Rooker? Is it Trevor Larnach? I don't know. But if not, we better get a bat. Go sign Marcelo Ozuna to play left field then. The funny thing with Ozuna, I just started writing his free agent profile thing. And I didn't realize he came 13 batting average points away from winning the Triple Crown this year.
Gosh, wow. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
He led the National League in home runs and RBIs. And he hit 338.
Jeez.
Juan Soto hit 351.
Wow.
So Marcelo Ozuna was almost a Triple Crown winner this year. Granted, it's short season. I get it. That's fine. But, I mean, the guy can hit. So, I don't know. If you're not going to sign Cruz, you got to replace that bat.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I mean, honestly, if my wish list for the Twins would be someone like Bauer, an ace like that, obviously there won't be much more after that. But Bauer, Liam Hendricks, and Nelly Cruz, bring them back. Those would be my three. If I was spending the Twins' money, that's what I would do. Liam Hendricks, because he's a right-hander, to go off Taylor Rogers' left-handed closing. Nelly Cruz, because he's been great for us for the past couple of years, and we know he's going to do what he does. And Trevor Bauer, because he'd be the ace, and then we can have Maeda as the number 2, Barrios number 3. Pineda and Dobnak, that's fine with me. So that would be my wish list for the Twins.
Yeah, that would be solid. They can do that. something similar to that. But I don't know. We talked a lot about the Twins, so I don't know if you had any closing remarks, or that if you had everything you wanted to say.
No, that's about it. I mean, like I said, that would be my wish list, and I'm hoping the Twins can at least sign a couple of them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not counting on Bauer because there's going to be a bidding war. But if they could bring Liam Hendricks in, bring Nelly Cruz back, and get another starter, even if it's not Bauer, if you could bring in maybe another 2 starters, some Charlie Morton and James Paxton on 1-year deals, or even if you sign a Tanaka for a couple of years or something like that. They need another arm in that starting rotation, and they need a closer, and they need to bat. If you're not going to sign Nelly Cruz, go out and get Ozuna, because that bat needs to be there. So I'm not worried about the rest of the lineup so much, because their infield is pretty much set. As far as we got Donaldson at third, we got Polanco at short, Luis Arias at second, Sano at first. We have Garver and Ryan Jeffers showed really well this year, played really well. So I'm not worried about the infield, but those would be my guys, man. Go out and get Liam Hendricks, re-sign Nelly Cruz, and go out and get a starter or 2. If you're not going to get the Ace Bauer, get 2 other starters. Go sign John Lester for a year. Get someone who's going to give you innings.
Yeah.
Because like I said before, Baldelli likes to use his bullpen. Even if Lester, I don't care if Lester's 37 years old. Go out and get him. He'll throw 180 innings. It's fine with me. Maybe the bullpen won't be so taxed when you get to the playoffs and blow leads.
Yeah.
So.
But
Yeah, so that's it for me.
yeah, that's about it for the Twins offseason. Preview. That's still a preview since nothing has happened yet. So, besides just the minor 40-man roster moves from the other day. So, yeah, continue listening to this pod as we do every review, as we roll down every team for this off season. As signings happen, trades happen. I'll be talking about them as well. See what happens. See how it all goes down. But next couple months will probably be pretty slow as we see how everything goes. But yeah, and you can find Johnny as always on Twitter at jball0202 and myself at Alex Keeler. Where we have all of our articles and stuff from the site Primetime Sports Talk. A lot of football stuff coming out lately, and our free agent profiles. I've been doing a few over the last couple of days, so those are all out on my feed. So yeah, check that all out, and make sure you listen to as we continue these. Thanks for listening as always, and you could never have too much pod tar.